Hi everybody, Richard Tromans here at Artificial Lawyer TV. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're talking to Lex Mundi. Now, Lex Mundi is not a law firm, and it's also not really a client. Lex Mundi is a law firm network, in fact, one of the very first and also one of the largest. It's also one of the few law firm networks that really has a sort of truly professional approach to legal technology and innovation. As many of them are quite loose, but this one really has a sort of different approach. With us to tell us a bit more about this is Gordon, who is, I'm going to say, the head of innovation or the head of technology. Gordon, welcome to the show.
Great, thanks, Richard. Really pleased to be here.
So first of all, actually, just you can get this more precise. First of all, what is your role, and then secondly, just if you could explain what is Lex Mundi and what do you do there?
Sure. Yeah, so my title is Senior Advisor, Technology and Innovation. We're a very small team. I have a colleague that's working with me now, and Lex Mundi is a global network of law firms. We have 150 member firms in 100 countries around the world. These are premium, leading firms in their jurisdictions, providing corporate and business legal services.
So let's look at some of the projects that you're working on. For example, Artificial Lawyer wrote recently about your work with Elevate, the law company. Let's start with Elevate, and then let's look at some of the other projects around technology, innovation, and process. So first of all, what are you doing with Elevate?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, really, the work that I do, the technology and innovation at Lex Mundi is really in three buckets. So, Elevate is actually working with us from a strategic direction perspective. They've been hired actually by the board of directors to assist with Lex Mundi's strategic planning exercise. It's no accident that it was Elevate, because we believe that they have a perspective across the market in terms of what clients are interested in, what other firms are doing, and of course their own perspective on technology. So that's one bucket. Another bucket is part of what I do is try to accelerate the uptake by individual firms of new technologies and new techniques. We do that in a variety of ways I can talk about it. And then thirdly, we work to support member firms when they are delivering services together on behalf of clients. For example, we have HiQ Collaborate available as a collaboration platform for any set of firms when they're working with a client to help provide seamless service.
Gotcha. It's an interesting role, isn't it? In some ways, it's almost like being a bit of a consultant, in that, as mentioned before, you're not really, you're not a, you might say, the law firm itself. What you're doing is getting the law firms to use technology.
I should have. Lex Mundi is an association. It is a bunch of if you think about it, a bunch of law firms leading each in their own individual jurisdiction came together and said, wouldn't it be useful, wouldn't it be powerful if we had an association where we can work together on behalf of our clients and to accelerate our own capabilities. So Lex Mundi has a professional development team that runs professional development programs around the world for new partners. There's a recent one we just completed around new really senior associates around doing multinational deals, a week-long training. So there's a whole set of infrastructure or capabilities that the association provides as a result of the members joining together. And the technology and innovation program is just the latest additional program.
Gotcha. Yes, it's kind of grown organically over the years. And actually, just out of interest, when did Lex Mundi start? It was about, what, 20 years ago? Is that right?
About 20 years ago. That's right. And you use the word organically, and I like that because. But it's also been very strategic in seeing a gap in the market between individual local firms and large sort of monolithic international business law firms, and that there's a gap in the market that Lex Mundi is really filling, and unique in that regard, of providing, having excellent local law firms, which really do have the best lawyers locally, but joined up together and designing a way that those firms can work together to seamlessly deliver legal services on behalf of the client across 20, 30, 40 different jurisdictions.
Gotcha. So let's look at some practical examples. So, let's say there's a law firm in Spain and it's working with, let's say, another law firm in South America. They're doing a deal and the client mentions something. Let's say the client says, well, actually, we would prefer if you could use some of this, NLP doc review technology for this particular project. And the Spanish firm and the South American firm says, well, yeah, we're not really experts in this. I mean, obviously, this is hypothetical. I'm sure whoever your Spanish firm is extremely up to date on all of this. But just as a hypothetical example, and they say, well, would you be the first port of call? They would give you a ring and say, right, could you help us out with this? Or how would it work?
Well, so yeah, how does it work? So, I mean, I guess one of the big advantages of Lex Mundi has is we have 150 very smart law firms, all of whom are trying to be the best they can. So we have deep expertise across the firms, and part of my role is just to help accelerate. It's kind of accelerating serendipity. Our member firms are constantly working together. They're constantly sharing information about what they're doing, how it's working, what they like about a particular vendor or software, and I can fill that gap for them. We've done that in a more practical way. Earlier this year, we completed a survey of member firms. We had 85 of the member firms complete a detailed listing of what across 15 categories of technology. We actually worked with Rain and Court to get the categories they were using, so that we could sort of match that up to their offering. And then across those 15 categories, we asked, are you using it? Are you planning to use it? If you are using it, what are you using? And kind of what's your experience been with? And then we published this back out to participating firms as a bit of a directory. We call it, in the short form, is sort of who's doing what directory. So one answer to your question would be, if a member firm, wanted to know about a technology or wanted to leverage the experience of another firm, they can simply look in the directory and reach out to that firm, or they can call me and I have a handle on who's doing what. In your particular instance, typically, we often work on what we call a sort of lead firm basis. So the Spanish firm, as the lead firm, would work with the client and sort of identify the technology, and working with their colleague firms, identify what would be the sort of best way to approach it. I certainly know of them. We have good relationships with many of the vendors. I either have them directly or through the member firms. One of the things we do in order to accelerate the uptake, now you sort of started with document automation, which I think is an important kind of example. The sort of more recent one that we've been working on is around contract review tools in a deal that, due diligence is a big part of the work there. And one of the things we've done there is negotiated with one of the vendors, Diligent, to provide a free trial for any member firm with that software. And our purpose there is to make sure that it's really easy for member firms to at least try within a category of technology that we believe is an important one. The end of that is, I don't, whether you use Diligent or Kira or Luminance or, one of the 10 other softwares, they have pluses and minuses, all of them. What Lex Mundi is trying to do is accelerate the uptake of new technologies, and we provide this as an on-ramp to make it easy. We identify the category to pay attention to. We we have sort of pre-identified at least one vendor that's worth their consideration, and we've got an arrangement with that vendor that provides a bit of a wrapper of service and training along with the software to enable the firms to at least try it and get their heads around what this means to them.
Gotcha. So Diligent is not the only company you have this special relationship with.
So we've over the years we've had a variety of relationships with vendors. Typically, we do one or two of them in a year. I'm also responsible on the cybersecurity side of things, so we've just recently done that on the cybersecurity side of things. Previously we had one with Neota Logic, the same kind of model. This is a category of technology. The expert system model I think is worth paying attention to, and we paid for free trials in that case for a limited number of firms to give it a try. And the other thing we do is what we try to do is we try to accelerate the learning of member firms by when firms and the Diligent one is a good example. The original set of firms we did Diligent with, we worked with Diligent to create use cases out of the member firms that participated in the Diligent trials, and then fed those back to the membership as as a write-up of a sort of case study along with a webinar. So that again, that sort of helps. Law firms love to look at what other law firms are doing. What we're trying to do is help our firms look at sort of what sort of other leading firms from the Lex Mundi network are doing, with what we believe is leading at least categories of technology.
Gotcha. So there's no obligation that you must do these things. It's more a sort of gentle nudging, sort of.
Well, yeah, no, it's a tricky thing. So our firms are fiercely independent. And it's actually a strength of Lex Mundi that we have this diversity of membership around the world and the strong local ties. I mean, that is really unique when every firm is a leading law firm in their jurisdiction, and so that's a real strength of ours, and we don't want to lose that. So we kind of operate on what I would call a loose-tight model. So there's the looseness, independent firms around the world. The tightness comes from we have a set of standards. So we have cybersecurity core standards, we have service standards, and those standards are really performance-based. So it doesn't say you must use this technology in this way. For example, one of the service standards is when member firms are working, when you have a client and you're working with member firms, you must provide to the client a digital collaborative workspace. So we don't care what that software is, but we do care. We do believe that it's important for when firms are working together on behalf of a client, that using emails with attachments is simply not efficient, not effective, not safe, and you must have some sort of collaborative platform technology to do that. If member firms don't have that, we have a deal with HiQ Collaborate, and we can provision them with their site to do that. Many of our firms have HiQ Collaborate already, or an alternative, and we don't prescribe that they have to use our software our way. We simply say as a standard that this is an expectation for seamless service delivery.
Gotcha. Rain and Court, there's been lots of interest over the last couple of years in Rain and Court. You mentioned then there, first of all, you were using their classification of technology. Does it go beyond that? Are you directing your member firms to go to Rain and Court and use their marketplace, their app store, as it's been described? We've made
we've made our member firms aware of Rain and Court. For example, we have an upcoming, we're in the middle of what we call our ZIP initiative. ZIP doesn't stand for anything. It's supposed to be zippy. It's supposed to be fast. And it's a series of activities this fall in aid of accelerating the uptake amongst member firms. One of which is we're doing a 2-hour innovative solutions showcase where we've got 10 different solutions presented in 1 hour with the following hour of breakout sessions with each of the individual vendors. And I raise that because Rain and Court is going to be one of the participants there, because we do think it's an innovative solution. So what we're doing really is drawing attention to what we believe is an interesting, a practical. We're not interested in brand new, never been tried kinds of things. We're interested in practical innovations that can support member firms. And so at the very least, member firms are aware of Rain and Court. But not every solution works for every firm. Rain and Court is really designed currently for around a large firm model, and that's certainly relevant to a subset of our member firms. But we have member firms with 25 lawyers, 50 lawyers, 100 lawyers, and the Rain and Court model that currently doesn't really map well to that. So.
Gotcha.
We think it's interesting, and people should pay attention to it. And we believe that there will be others in this market space, or Rain and Court will be providing alternative offerings.
Absolutely. Last question. Obviously, hopefully there'll be some people in the legal tech world watching this who may be the founders of legal tech companies across a variety of needs. Can they get in touch with you? Would you encourage them to get in contact with you?
I would encourage them, absolutely. I would also encourage them to contact their local firm and share their idea or suggestion with the local firm. There's only 2 of us doing this for Lex Mundi, and we have 150 member firms around the world. So, there's limited capacity on my part. I'm always interested to learn about practical innovations where people have an initial track record of what's working, particularly in the corporate business law space. Happy to have people reach out either to me or our local firms.
Awesome. And just very, very last question. If somebody did want to find out who the local Lex Mundi firm is, how do they do that?
It's pretty easy. Go to lexmundi.com and there is at the very top there's sort of find a lawyer, and you can just click on that and you can get a list of the member firms, or look up the one in your local jurisdiction. And I'm sure if you do that for your own country, you'll immediately recognize the name of the firm.
Awesome. Thank you, Gordon. Very interesting. And good luck with your projects. Thank you.
Thank you.